And welcome back to the Work Wife podcast where no topics are off limits. So today we're going to be interviewing Luke Clerkin, who is a singer-songwriter and a mental health advocate.
Say hello, Luke. So I want to start off with a little bit of an icebreaker just to ease us into a little bit of a conversation. So I have a question for you, right? And I just think this is so interesting because I love hearing people's answers. So if there was 25 hours in a day, what would you do with your extra hour a day?
I'd probably stay in bed.
Would you?
Yeah. Honestly,
Yeah, do you know what it is? Because you never probably get that time to actually rest or sit down. Like I think I would personally, like if I could choose, sit down and have a cup of tea and actually enjoy that hour.
But he makes sense as well because, do you know, like if you could say, one thing in the morning, like, I wish I could just stay in bed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? For another hour, do you know, like when you're actually like really hard, like bollocks.
It's mad because I asked a few people this question and everyone answered it so differently. But I was you were the first person to say it as well, like stay in bed, and I'm like, relax. Because you don't get time to do it.
This next one, I don't even know what I'll ask it anyways.
She doesn't get this one, but
I actually don't get this right. But anyways, do you say under the stairs or a coal house?
What?
Have you ever heard
Yeah.
that? Oh my god! No, please! I actually
Actually,
had. Have you never heard of the coal house?
No. So do you say under the stairs? That's
Yeah, So nannies and granddads have never called it the coal house.
No, it might not be
Because
because I think she was going to bring me somewhere in mass when I was never coming back.
Yeah, because years ago, obviously everybody had fires, and like they used to have to take the coal out of the coal house and put it. No, seriously, Ashley's and nanny or granddads are older people. I bet you and they're like, yeah, the coal house. He's have never heard of that saying.
No.
So he's obviously saying under the stairs.
Yeah.
I thought there was going to be a big debate between you and you don't even know what that is. Yeah, from gas coal to the coal house. What's next? No, seriously, it's obviously people in Ballyferma, but like my nanny and granddad was saying, and his mum and dad still called it the coal house as well. Like,
Does that mean not doing this?
well, when he lived in if he's in his mum and dad's, he called it the coal house, but in our house, he called it under the stairs.
Yeah, so different houses have different.
Do you know what it is? I think it's because you know them doors and you can kind of see that, like the way the bin, you can kind of see through it. Like, do you know them old houses and you can see through the door? Whereas my under the stairs has an actual door.
Yeah, why could you see through them?
You can see through them. Like, they were like I suppose like little jail windows or something. But anyway,
before they had doors.
You have never heard of coal house. I think that's actually crazy.
No,
Right,
no.
anyway, moving on. So you think under the stairs, that's actually gas.
What's next?
Oh, sorry. So other than the song, any songs you have written, what is your favourite song? That's very hard.
No, it's actually not. Live Forever by Oasis.
Or by Oasis, is it?
Yeah.
I can't even
I
think of
don't
that
know
song. Yeah.
What way to go?
I know you don't have to sing it.
It's obviously not like I know one now on like I just don't know.
Is that one of the popular ones or is it?
Yeah, it's on the first album.
On the first album, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was always interested to see that anyone that does write songs, what songs they actually
Yeah.
enjoy to listen to it as well. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. And then what is your main goal for 2024?
Jeez, that was right.
I think to focus a lot more on self-care. I
Yeah.
think that's a huge thing for me. It's something that I've delved into a lot within the last year. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
you
I
want to
think
focus on.
it's so important for me because if your self-care is looked after, then all your relationships and everything are looked after as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So-
This is such a big thing we're hearing about all
Today-
just self-care, self-care,
Yeah,
self-care.
Yeah.
And how you look after yourself, everything around you is
And we
looked after.
think that like because we're so organised and write our days out to a T that we're great.
But
Like
realistically,
none of that
being an
self-care.
organised mess, yeah, you're actually putting everything else
Even
before
the list
yourself.
we're doing is actually adding pressure on ourselves because
Yeah.
we put like a million things on the list to do in one day on top
Yeah.
of living a normal life, having a family and working.
Yeah. No.
So that's
Well, they were our little icebreakers.
Yeah.
Anyway.
makes
So I
sense.
want to get dug into a few questions about you. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got into music?
Yeah, sure. So I'm from Tala.
Yeah.
I started playing music when I was about 8 or 9,
Right.
and I come from quite a working class background. Like, you know, my dad was a carpenter, my mum worked in a factory. Do you know, and there's 3 of us in the house, and my dad got a guitar for my sister, and she didn't want it, so it was given to me. The hand-me-downs. I'm the youngest, you know, and I loved to sing. I sang all the time, and like I used to go to the NLCE to visit my auntie and my uncle, and I'd sing for them every day after Blind Date. Like,
So you were confident as a child singing as well?
Yeah.
But when you're a child, you're full of confidence.
Yeah.
That's good. Like
Yeah.
I'm doing it since then.
Yeah. But that changed a few years later, but I'll get into that now in a second. So yeah, I started writing songs then. Like actually at first it was one of these things where like you get told to do something, so I had to practice guitar a lot, and I had to go to the lessons on an emphasis on the word had.
Okay.
Had to, because like when you're told to do something so much, it becomes a chore, especially when you're a child. It takes the fun out of it,
Yeah, 100%.
So I started writing songs then when I was about 10 or 11. So and that's when I fell in love with it.
Amazing.
I loved it. I loved it. I loved Teenage Dirtbag. Do you know that song?
I love that song.
I wrote my own like television of that.
Did you?
Television.
How's it going?
No, I didn't.
It's more so someone who I went to school. I was a primary school. I was writing a song. That's a madness, But moving on.
I'm just a teller.
But so I wrote that song, and I was in a band. Like when I was 6th class, I would have been in a band, and because I wouldn't name the song about the girl, and don't think I'm gonna name the girl.
Yeah, he's still not naming that girl.
No, I'm still not. They kicked me out of the band. Do you know what I mean? So.
Oh really?
Yeah. So what happened then was I started going to a guitar teacher, and she was like, just give me that confidence to go and go to this talent show. We were meant to go on a talent show with the band, and she gave me the confidence to just go on my own after I got kicked out, and then they didn't make it to the final, and I did, and I was like, yeah, this is it. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, cool. But then, just peer pressure and stuff kind of got in the way of everything. You know what I mean? And after I got into, so I did that, was writing songs and everything, and I loved it, but it wasn't the thing that was the cool thing to be doing around Springfield and in Tala. Like, do you know what I mean? It wasn't the kid.
What age were you here now at this second?
I got into secondary school, and
that's when things do start changing and peer pressure. Yeah, you can still be a kid, I feel, up to 6th class, and then it's like you have to become an adult or something when you get to
so it was a big thing, a massive thing for me, like, getting into secondary school and hanging around with the boys and going and drinking on the streets and whatever else. What happened back then, like, was that I kind of just lost confidence in that part of my life, and I just wanted to fit in more so than anything. Do you know what I mean? And I did, like, as I said, I had a good guitar teacher, but when I got into secondary school, I didn't have that push from my secondary school teachers either, like, and then so I was just at the back of the class messing all the time on my phone, planning what we were going to do for the weekend and all that kind of stuff. That's what I was at, like, So there was a lot of kind of drink took the place of music in that way. Do you know what I mean? So I was drinking quite a bit. I always say this quote, but it's like at that point the only future I had was my weekend. Do you know what I mean? And
when you are younger, it's the only thing you look forward to. It's not school, you're seeing your friends, and you stay out late. Do you know what I mean? It's true.
I go into the cinema.
Going to the cinema.
Jesus, I spent every weekend in the cinema. You know what I mean?
Or at a sleepover.
So it was like a lot of that kind of. So music kind of went to the wayside. I did it for my junior, but like I failed it and everything. Like, I wasn't but I wasn't because I wasn't writing music. I wasn't really like.
Did you not just group and sing? I remember years ago having to do that and nothing more to find like Jonah. Do you remember?
I actually did music and
I sang it down. I remember.
Can you sing?
No, not really, but I sang it down anyway.
So I did the practical and everything, but I just didn't do well at all. And so everything outside of school and outside of music was just like alcohol and just going out with the lads the weekend. Do you know what I mean? But I like my thing was I could never really handle my drink.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was the thing, and I was sometimes drinking to excess. You know what I mean? So it was one of those things where people started to know me for just being locked. Do you know what I mean? And like I wasn't an alcoholic, and I'll never say I was because I don't have an addiction to it. But it was just I never knew how to stop or when to stop. Do you know what I mean? And I was always just paralytic or getting brought home and stuff like that, And it became this thing where I would have like ended up failing my leaving cert.
Oh, you did end up failing?
I had a fail in my leaving, and then my life went downhill. Really.
At that time as well, the leaving cert was a big thing where it's not really that big anymore.
It's the only reason you go to school and the pressure.
That was it, like, do you know what I mean? I think things are probably a bit easier now for younger people, but like for us, it was everything. Do you know what I mean? And especially with like my family and stuff like that, like, do you know what I mean? They weren't drinkers, they weren't anything, like, do you know what I mean? So I was kind of in a way, the black sheep out, in a way, you know. And I brought a lot of trouble to the door, like, do you know what I mean? Like, when it came to like the guards and stuff like that, or other people looking for me, or whatever, like, do you know what I mean? Just doing silly things, and just trying to be the boys, one of the boys.
Trying to fit in with the boys.
So, what's built your connection between your music and your mental health?
So like after like I failed leaving cert and everything, like, you know, it was I everything just went downhill from there, like, you know, and I ended up repeating maths and doing.
So this is after school?
Yeah, after school, yeah. So I ended up repeating maths then, and then because if you fail maths, you're leaving, like, you know. And I repeated it, and I ended up going into college, and I dropped out, and then I just kept drinking and going on the session all the time, you know what I mean? And yeah, I ended up in a lot of fights with my mates and stuff like that, so I decided to get out of here, decided to go to Leeds. And I went to Leeds to live with like a mate of mine, someone who I thought was a mate, you know.
Yeah.
And he ended up ripping me off with the money that I was paying for the gaff and all. So I ended up in a horrible position. Like, and I didn't realise, like, they didn't talk about depression or anxiety or anything then, do you know what I mean?
Years ago,
wasn't
They
spoken
didn't,
about, like, at all.
it's only in the last 10 years that it's spoken about, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's insane. So like, yeah, so everything went downhill, like, do you know what I mean?
You felt like everything that could have went wrong in your life was going down wrong.
It did, and I ended up coming back from Leeds only lasting like 3 weeks, but I mean, it was the longest 3 weeks of my life, do you know what I mean?
But no money.
I was just no money, depressed out of my mind, just drinking a lot, smoking a lot, like, do you know what I mean? So it was just, everything was just, yeah, I was lost, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, so eventually I came back, and I got diagnosed with depression, you know. So I remember talking to my parents, and I said to them, like it was one day I was fighting with my sister. She's my middle sister, and I was fighting with her, and I just kind of came up with the words, like, you know, what if I don't want to be here anymore? Like, do you know what I mean? And that was the start. So
That's
that was like.
And what age were you at this?
I think I would have just turned 20. Like, yeah. So like, it was just after, like, obviously years passed after school, going to college and all that kind of stuff.
And you still felt like you were going down that.
Yeah. So then like getting diagnosed with depression was the thing. Like, you know, like I had to present myself to A&E because I was suicidal and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It was it got that too bad. It got like I was planning my own like planning it and everything, like, you know. And instead of going through with it, I ran home, do you know what I mean? And eventually I got the help that I needed, you know.
I'm so lucky that you had people there to actually give you the help. And, like,
yeah. And I know that right now, like, especially, like, you know, when
back, like, thank God.
Yeah. So like my family, no matter what, like stuff I put them through, like, do you know what I mean? It was still like they still
always wanted the
still always stood by me, like, do you know what I mean? And no matter what, which is so crucial. So getting back to like the music thing. So when I eventually like got diagnosed with depression and everything, I started going to counselling, do you know what I mean? And then the counselling was probably the best thing I've ever done in my life, do you know what I mean? Going to therapy, because I like come out to talk to people, you know. And so I ended up, like, after all the years of drink being an issue in my life, I ended up stopping drinking as well.
So you stopped completely drinking now today?
Yeah, no, I haven't. 12 and a half years later.
Oh my God, that is amazing.
That is very, very, very good.
You should be so proud of yourself.
So I stopped completely, like, do you know what I mean? But because I didn't have that in my life, that, like, you know, outlet, that's what it was for me. Like, it was my way of dealing with the anxiety, with dealing with the depression and everything, you know. Because I didn't have the outlet, I needed something else, you know. So a couple of months passed, and, you know, I went to my counsellor and was like, I don't know what to do, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I want to live, like, I'm on that mindset, but I just need a purpose. What do I live for? Do you know what I mean? And then she said, what did you do when you were younger? And, like, that was that moment, that light bulb moment.
You realised, like, oh God, I was
like, I played music, you know what I mean? And I mentioned Live Forever earlier. Like, that was a song that helped me through, like, there's a lyric in it, want to live, don't want to die. And that lyric, when I was going through my depression, going through the turmoil that I was going through, that song repeated in my head, it kind of just pushed me forward, you know what I mean? It just kind of just, like, you know, kept me going.
That's my favourite song,
Exactly.
It has like a meaning, and obviously a certain point in your life that helped you push through it.
100%. And that was the first song I learned to play after, like,
amazing.
8 years.
I'm so glad I asked that question.
It's nice how much music can relate to your life, though.
It's
like
massive, yeah. And that was the first song that I learned. And then I realised that I wanted to do for other people what that song did for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
So you wanted to create music then?
yeah, and write music for other people, like, you know.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So how do you balance vulnerability in your music with protecting your own mental health?
I think music is the way of processing it. You know what I mean? So I kind of just, with everything that I go through, it's the way I do it. So I think having other things that aren't music is another way of dealing with it as well. Like, do you know what I mean? And not just having music as the only way of dealing with it, like, you know. So like finding other alternatives like mindfulness, or do you know what I mean? Or I started doing yoga a few weeks ago. Jesus Christ, we won't even talk about that. But do you know what I mean? That kind of thing, do you know. So just like, yeah, balancing the vulnerability of that, like just finding other outputs for it, because it's like, if I'm go up on stage singing every night, like, you know, and I'm singing about when I was depressed, or when I was sad, or when I was going through it, you feel it so much.
Yeah, because you're saying the words, so you're brought believing it.
And you're obviously feeling that emotion and where you were when you were in that place as well.
Yeah. So it's so having other outlets is very important, and for me, do you know what I mean, in general, you know.
So have you received feedback from like your followers or your listeners of how like your openness has helped them with their mental health?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I've you know, for years, like after I started like playing music again and writing songs and stuff, you know, I got really into the advocacy work, which is like where I am now at this moment, you know.
What is sorry, I don't know what that means.
It's basically being a voice for those who are struggling with mental health, do you know what I mean? And being a voice for people who are experiencing like the stigma that surrounds it, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you know, and just showing that there's a way out and a way of dealing with it, you know what I mean? And making sure people know what mental health is, and the different like areas that it has, you know what I mean? So and for me, it's just basically being able to get up on stage and say, I'm a lad from Tala and I went through all this stuff, and I'm after coming out the other side, but I'm also maintaining that thing. It's about also being real with people, do you know what I mean?
Have you ever struggled again? Like, do you still?
I'd be a liar if I said it would. Like,
it's not easy. You still have to maintain that on a daily basis as well.
So like after I like start playing music again, I started working for a charity and stuff, you know. So I worked for a charity called Teen Line, which was set up in Tala, and it became this, like, it was a local charity, and then me and a couple of my friends, we wrote a song for the charity, and we started busking in like Temple Bar, and we started raising money for the charity in Temple Bar. So we did that for like 3 or 4 years. So that became like another outlet for me to do other things, like, you know. And that's another, like, just even show. I had a bed sheet that I robbed off my man, and I wrote "Busk for Suicide Prevention" on it. You know what I mean? But even the fact that people walking through Temple Bar, imagine someone seeing that. And seeing like, okay, I'm feeling that way, but these are helpful.
Actually,
they want to help
they're actually saying it, and they're actually doing it.
And the amount of people that have walked through Temple Bar and probably wouldn't even think of their feelings. They hear that song and straight away you hear the lyrics, and you think of them moments in your life, like, you know yourself. It is deep. Like,
so we did a lot of busking for years for that, like, do you know what I mean? And
are they a big organisation now?
They're now under the ISPCC, so under like the child line and stuff like that. So they went from a local charity becoming like a national charity.
They what they want to do. So obviously it's for teenagers as well.
Exactly. So, and it was because I struggled so much when I was a teenager that I wanted to help people.
So obviously, other than that, what you're involved in, is there any other mental health organisations that you're involved in that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, well, I've been a member of GROW, which is a mental health group. So basically, what we're doing now is just we sit around in a circle and they talk about their mental health, and they set little goals each week of what you can do for your self care, like, you know, and it could be something even just like going for a walk.
Doing it for yourself.
Yeah, whatever you're doing, because whatever you're struggling through, and you sit in a circle. You have one, and they have them all over the country.
So do you host this yourself?
No, I go as a
part of it.
I go as a member, like, you know. So, I go as a member, so that's the thing. Do you know what I mean? So I go in there.
You're still getting the help. You're still going through it. You're still walking through it.
Because I think it's just having that, like, that check in with yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like, no matter what, like, there's always gonna be that need. I know that for me, that I always need that check in. To have.
It's good that you recognise that, and you know that you need to do that, so that when you do feel like that, you know that's kind of your safe place too.
Absolutely, and like, with the mental health stuff as well, like I just got diagnosed with like ADHD like last year. So
So you've had that your whole life and you've never been diagnosed.
That's probably
Yeah.
why when you were younger you had depression and all, because
Yeah.
you've obviously had
Yeah.
ADHD all your life and never realised like how to deal with it. So
Mhm.
therefore it's caused other problems, because I am convinced I have
Yeah.
ADHD.
Okay.
But like my doctor told me as well, like I need to get assessed for ADHD, OCD, and I have dyslexia. But I get anxiety a lot. And even, did I ever say to you before, I'm like, I actually feel like maybe if I did get assessed, I'd have the answers to why I feel the way I feel sometimes.
Yeah.
So I just
Because
can't
you overthink
explain.
so much and
Do you know what I mean?
layer
And
it
then like one minute I'm like mad hyper, and the next minute you look at me and I'm like that. Or like someone could be talking to me, like my friend would say to me, she's like, Aoife, I could tell you I'm more than me dad, and you go, yeah. And then I go, what? Sorry, what did you say? And she'd be like, do you know what I mean? So I'm like, even at that, like I'm even saying to myself, there's even answers that I could probably guess, so I can understand. With you getting a diagnosis now, looking back, you were like, oh, this makes sense. Oh, this makes sense. Do you
Has
get me?
anything changed like since you got
Yeah,
diagnosed?
I just that's where the self-care comes into it, like, do you know what I mean?
So you recognise that you have to
I
do.
need to look after myself and look after what I do, and like, being aware of how much I'm taking on.
Yeah.
So
Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
So there's a thing called time blindness, right? And this is something that I'm talking
I feel
about.
like-
Well, the
yeah.
other ones are
So,
looking at each other straight away.
So it's
'cause you
just
know.
like, it's like taking on so much and then for not realizing how much it's gonna take to how much time it's gonna take to do it.
Yeah.
So you're like, yeah, I'll be able to do this, and then 4 or 5 weeks later you're still at the thing, and you think you thought it was gonna be done maybe in a week.
No, I
Do you know
do
what I
that all the time. I
Yeah.
write like about 20 big, huge jobs that would literally take about a year to do. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do them in a month, and then it's like realistically like
Yeah.
the actual amount of time to do
And
them
also
is
you just
huge.
end up burning yourself out.
But that's
Yeah.
it, like, and
100%.
it's back down to not looking after yourself, not doing things for
Yeah.
yourself. Even like we said, if you only do a 15-minute walk in the morning, like it's
Right.
just doing something for you.
Yeah.
So like on that note, like what do you do on your daily routine to keep yourself grounded?
I try to do as much mindfulness as possible, even if it's just like a little body scan. Do you know what I mean?
Also, what's a
Like, do you know, like, so we'd sit here and I'm like, think, like,
Feel your
breathe
toes.
into
Oh,
your
yeah,
feet,
yeah,
your feet,
yeah.
and up your, like, all the way through your body, and just know
So
how
does
you're
that only
breathing.
take like 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Right.
And it's really good if you
So
have
was it
ADHD.
literally just
You
sitting
know
here?
what I mean?
You should try
so,
that.
so you're literally just sitting there, you relax yourself,
Yeah.
close your eyes, and you kind of just like let yourself be aware of
Yeah.
your skin,
Yeah.
your toes, the way
Yeah.
they're wiggling,
Yeah.
awareness of just literally being in the
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
But even what was I even saying to you about like going on that walk and just even realise I was living in the moment? Like I actually am one of them people, like I drive for an hour and a half and go on a
Yeah.
5-minute walk. And during that I literally just went on a walk. I was like, just stop being so awkward and be a little bit simple. And when I came back I was like, Jesus, like that is after making me feel so much better, and I didn't even go with anyone, and I do feel like I have
Probably
to go
needed
with-
that and to be in the moment.
Do you know
and
what I
actually
mean?
just do
I
it
literally was
yourself.
like to her, I had a counselling session by
Yeah.
myself. I didn't even speak to anyone, like, so it is literally just taking a few minutes to
Yeah.
come back down to earth, like.
And other than that body scan, did you do anything else?
I joined the gym recently,
Oh,
so that's a big thing for me. Just even to go swimming. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just forget about the world.
And I love
or-
swimming as
Yeah.
well. Like everyone thinks exercise has to be going to the gym and doing
Yeah.
weights, or
Yeah.
has to be physically running to try lose weight. But
Yeah.
sometimes just getting out and actually like just doing. I sometimes go in at 5:30 in the morning. I go on the treadmill and I put on a Netflix series, literally, and it's like that half an hour is mine.
Yeah,
But at
yeah,
least
yeah.
I'm actually doing something for
Yeah.
myself, which is
Yeah.
being on the treadmill. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
something so simple, isn't it? Like
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's just good for your head. It's good for your body. It's good all around. Like, do you know what I mean? Because it's all part of each other. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if one is healthy, then the other is healthy. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's so important. You know.
So you facilitate songwriting and mental health workshops. What made you do that?
So like I've been doing like since now that's I got back into music 2012. So since then I was doing advocacy work for like Teen Lounge for like 5-6 years, and then I got back into doing music properly and I actually pursued it as a career. And then this year I decided I was like it's time for me to do both, because I stepped back from advocacy work because I was 23 and I was getting people ringing me and telling me they were suicidal, and I wasn't really
It's
able to
probably
handle
a lot,
that. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? It
Because
was a
you were
lot.
probably still even dealing with only.
Yeah. Yeah, so I had to step away from it for a bit and learn how to deal with it. Do you know what I mean? And then now I feel I'm at that point where I'm like, okay, I've done everything I can do with music so far, and now I'm gonna go back into advocacy, and how do I combine it? So I didn't plan that though. it was just like you know, there's libraries like the one in Ballyfermot
Yeah.
has a studio, and
Oh,
there's
does it?
yeah, has a yeah.
Like a song studio, like
Yeah,
I never knew
yeah,
that.
recording studio. And
On our doorstep, no
Yeah.
and but they have one in Knockandalkin Library as well in
Right.
Neilstown. So I was down there working on what was meant to be an album, and they have all the recording gear in there. Like, you know, I was in there, and after being in there like for months just recording every day, I got to know the staff. And I had told them like what I did, what I used to do, like, you know, all the mental health stuff, and you know, they were like, would you try like come in and do a workshop for the kids?
Brilliant.
And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like, and we did it, and then it's like that was one random one, and I kept getting booked in, and then I started like, so I've now ran like 2 sets of workshops, a series of workshops with like students from Tala and Neilstown as well. And I'm doing it in new clubs and stuff like that.
And what would they entail? Like, so what would you actually do during them? Like?
So basically, I go in and tell them what I've told you, tell them my
Yeah,
stories
your
about
story,
how music has helped me, and how I've helped people with music, and then I just give them, like, people could come in and never have written a song before, never even played an instrument before, and I just give them the tools. Do you know what I mean? And
so they would actually write a song.
Yeah,
In the,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Okay, that's interesting.
so they'll come in and I'll basically tell them like the structure of a song. Actually, I'll ask them because I wanted them to lead it. So I'll say to them, like, what do we need to write a song? Do you know what I mean? And yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then they'll go into, they'll say like chords and all this kind of stuff, melody, structure, and all this kind of stuff. And it's because a lot of them already know this because they listen to music every day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's just like getting them thinking about it, you know. And then I'll get them to write down when mental health comes into it. I get them to write down like, okay, if you had a friend who was struggling, you know, or going through the same things that I was going through, that I talked about, what would you say to them? And I get them to write all that stuff down. Do you know what I mean? And I figure that I give them maybe about 20 minutes, 40 minutes to write that down, and then if they don't write music themselves, I'll come up with the melody and the chords for them. Like,
and you would
sing their words, and then like it'll
actually
be like,
turn it into a song.
turn it into a song.
So that's a great way of bringing your songwriting in with your mental health
and emotions and what you feel.
And it's actually mad because how I found out about Luke was I actually had a client come in. I was telling Luke this is how I reached out to him. The client came in to me, first time to ever meet her, and literally just started chatting. How was your day? She said she was in work. But one of the things she said was, we actually had this fella in, Luke. She didn't even say her name. She said we had a fella in. He came in to do a workshop. She said he told me he was the most inspiring person I've ever met. He was so inspirational in his story, and like straight away I was like, oh my god, that's what we want, like real people, inspiring. And I was like, she's literally just coming in and telling me that, getting her eyebrows done. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I was like, she obviously made an effect on her, and she was saying that she actually said that to us, that she had to make a song, and she actually couldn't believe that the song was brought together, and how songwriting was actually helping with our mental health.
I think we need to make a song.
I know. But it's mad because like that, she obviously didn't know I was going to reach out to you, and she was just talking so highly about you, and that's literally that night I text Luke and asked him would he come on, because if she's so inspired, imagine what you could do for other people.
I know it is inspiring. We didn't even want to even look up much about you either, because we wanted to hear from you literally first, like, you know. Yeah,
so she, like, that was mad because like I've never, my like workshops are always with like kids. So they were all adults, do you know what I mean? So it's like it works for all ages. It's mad, like, and like
they were teachers, right?
They were teachers, so it was like 4 artists and then like 13 or 14 teachers, like, do you know what I mean?
Amazing.
So it was mad. And
was there a difference with doing about adults and kids?
I think because they were teachers, they kind of had done poetry and stuff like that before. They had different ideas, but they were doing it differently. Like, so we split them into like 3 groups. So if we were to do it, like, say you have a verse and you have a chorus, whatever.
Yeah, and then together.
Yeah, so they do different things, like you know, they have different ways of doing it. Like, you know, I think when, like, we talked about this earlier, like when you get older and you kind of lose that sense of creativity because you kind of get it knocked out of you by society and
even the likes of doing simple things like colouring, which you used to, like, I remember a couple of years ago a mindful book came out and I was actually colouring in the lines, and I remember thinking to myself, I used to love colouring when I was a child, and it actually did bring me back down to like a peaceful mode, because I'm always on such a high level of like need to do 101 things.
Oh, the adults colouring books.
There was an adult
Yeah,
colouring
yeah,
book,
yeah, I
and
remember that.
it's actually mad because I actually completely forgot about it now. Here I am, I'm gonna go and buy a colouring book.
Yeah.
But like that, it was just a creative side of me that I had. That
Yeah.
obviously you're just like, oh no, I'm an adult now. I don't colour.
Yeah.
Like you just think, oh my god, I'm an adult now. I'm not meant to colour because society tells you you're
Yeah.
not meant to unless you're a painter.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that actually makes sense.
So the whole point of that week was us for all of us to rekindle that
creative side.
like, yeah, but the child, like,
The
'cause
child.
we still have all of
Inner
us have that inner
child.
child
Yeah,
within
of
us, do you know
course
what I mean?
I was only telling her
Yeah.
about this earlier on,
Yeah.
like your like root chakra, like that's
Yeah.
all about her inner
Yeah.
child, and I was telling her like you feel everything you felt from when you were in your mom's
Yeah.
stomach, and she was like, what? Like it's
You
mad,
still
like
have
you
that
don't
trauma from
realise
years
like
ago, yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
It's all there.
So like that was and we every day we'd actually do like a little like kind of Reiki kind of thing every day. So
Oh,
we
brilliant.
went through the different chakras like every day. One of the women, Eileen Casey, would help us like, and she'd make us do like a body scan, but then talk about the root chakra and breathing and the colours and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, no,
Do you feel the driving and all that kind of stuff? Like
I love
that,
it.
and
I
stuff?
love it. Yeah. I got really into it this year, and I went through a massive burnout this year because
You're probably doing
because
so
of
much and taking it on, everything
but
on.
also I didn't like the ADHD. Do you know what I
You
mean?
didn't
Like,
realise that you had it.
No, I only had it like I only got diagnosed like 2 months, but even getting that diagnosis, there's a lot of grief attached to it. Do you know what I mean? Because what if my life
Had it gone differently if I
Yeah.
had it now.
and obviously that's something that I cannot change.
Yeah, it's in the
And,
past.
Yeah, but at the same time, it still
Still
wrecked my head like for a while, and so that was going on, and then it was just like, oh yeah, I'm able to do everything, and I can go off and play all these gigs, and I can go off and do all these workshops, and go off and do everything else, and then
do podcasts.
do a podcast. Yeah. But
I can do everything and
you
I won't bore
yeah.
you.
and then I burnt out. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So like now I'm more focused on that kind of stuff. So I did Reiki. I did like 6 rounds of Reiki, and it was just
And it was
it was
something for
amazing.
you
Great.
as
Yeah,
well.
it was huge. It was a massive thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And it was probably really, and you know what it is when you're on that sort of high frequency and trying to run to the next place and run to the next place, it brings you back down.
Yeah.
Like it really
No,
does.
it
Or
does.
even if someone has like a calm aura, it just literally brings you back down again.
Yeah.
Like you do need it. Sorry, am I asking a question? Because I just enjoy listening,
No, I
and
know,
then
it
you
is.
forget we're actually meant to be here
No, I
asking
know.
questions.
I'll ask it. It's how can people benefit from using songwriting to talk about their mental health?
So like it's just another way of processing things. Do you know what I mean?
Like actually writing it down.
Yeah, just
Putting it to
see
paper and
it's
actually
for what
like,
it
it's
is.
like for me songwriting, like people talk a lot about journaling.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
suppose it would be like
And it's
that.
just that's what it is, but
Yeah.
like it's that thing. It's like if you can sing your feelings as well,
Yeah.
like it gets them out of there.
I
Do you know what I mean?
suppose like you'd be shouting it. It's like
Yeah.
obviously singing is a higher. Like obviously when you say things right and you say it out loud, it's
Yeah.
like therapy because you're speaking it. But if you're shouting that out, it's like you're releasing it. I
Yeah.
suppose out of your
Yeah.
body.
Yeah.
I'm just
Like,
trying to
I'm gonna snap.
sing.
Yeah, literally, like, you know.
Yeah. So it does, it kind of releases it a little bit more.
I
Like,
think it's just so important to have that, and if, whether it be like songwriting, whether it be journaling, whether it be just
having an
Right.
outlet.
just having that thing, whatever that may be. But like for me, obviously, I'd love to everybody to be a songwriter. Do you know what I mean? I think everybody has a song in them. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's the
And we
most
just don't
important
know
thing.
it yet.
You just don't know it yet. No,
100%.
you know.
Sorry, I'm losing where we are. How can people benefit from songwriting? Is that what we just
Yeah,
asked?
so it's just-
What advice would you give to anybody who would like to write songs as an outlet for their mental health? So what advice would you give?
I just say like, just do it.
Do it,
Basically,
yeah.
like,
Try
you
it
know,
and see
just
if it
try it
works.
and go to a workshop. I know people who run them. I think just like, you know, having that outlet, like, you know, think of the benefits first before you do it. And like,
Yeah.
and I'm talking about like, you don't have to be a singer to be a songwriter.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not
And that's
talking
actually so
about,
true.
You know it is.
That was actually so powerful because
I
I'm like, that
know.
actually is so
No,
true.
I know.
Like,
you don't have to be a singer to be a songwriter. And if it's just for you, like,
yeah.
I went through another thing about the burnout was like for the last like whatever like say 8 years or something, I was trying to get all the Spotify streams and trying it, and I was like, this is actually not why I play music. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
it's
just
not
like
to
it's
get
not.
on
No,
that,
it's
yeah.
not. It's because I want to help people. It's so easy to get caught up in that.
Yeah.
And again, it's like just because if you're writing like if you write songs, you don't have to sing them. They don't have to be for anybody else. It's just for
For
you.
you.
Do you know what I mean? If
And
you
that's
have
your
that-
outlet
yeah,
as well.
Exactly. And that's the thing. That's what I'm really passionate about, telling people like that. Like you don't have to. It can just be a hobby. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's
So you
like
can just enjoy it.
yeah, and like you can just rip up the page or delete the recording afterwards, whatever. It doesn't matter. Once you have that from out of your mind and your body and onto a page or onto a voice recording, that's all that matters.
Singing does help though. Like I always say, music is the answer. To your problems. But like Joan, I'm in the car like, and I actually put on a song.
A good song that
and
you like.
I love that song. Like I literally
It changes your whole
scream
mood.
from the top of my lungs. Like I literally swear I was performing in like the X Factor or something the way it was going on. But
But
like,
it is true what you're saying, even there, like about the Spotify, like, and you were saying, like, obviously, people like even us doing the podcast, people like, oh, what is influencers now?
No.
Now we want to do this because we enjoy doing this, and obviously, as part of their job, girls come in and they like tell us things, and we just want to have a bigger platform so that people can feel comfortable, or they can ask us scenarios, or like that you coming on could help someone else. Do you know what I mean? So like we're doing it because we enjoy doing
like
it.
someone out there could be in their 20s is suffering from depression and actually doesn't realise, oh God, maybe I could have ADHD
and
or
I didn't realise
something else, and do you know?
So that's why we want to do it, not because we want to be influencers, okay, everybody?
We want to help everyone and ourselves.
It's like for you as now, like this is only the beginning of your journey, right?
Yeah.
Like who knows what's going to happen in a year's
But
time.
I can actually see this helping us out so much.
Yeah, personally, like we've learned so much about people, like everyone that's came on so far, like we're learning every single time. And I think the main thing, I swear to God, that most people in most interviews have said is you need self-love. And like you have to do something
time
for yourself every day, even if it's only 5 minutes. Every single person has said it, and it's like as if they all know the secret rule that we don't know, but like we're learning that as we go on. So if we're learning, then obviously other people are learning too. Like.
I think it's because maybe we've all made those mistakes of like not looking after ourselves and ended up like maybe burning out or something.
Yeah,
like
and
that,
you get to like that's we had someone on earlier on. She said she had a health scare, and that's what it took for her to actually stop and actually start doing mindfulness.
You don't want to not enjoy this.
Yeah, like take in the moment now, take in what we're doing now.
I listened to your first podcast and it was like, you know, if you're waking up every morning and going to a job that you don't like, don't do it.
Yeah,
exactly.
So the minute this becomes something like
that's gas, because I remember my brother said it to me as well. He's like to me, he goes to me when I come in, he was like, if you do a job you like or something, I goes, you won't work a day in your life. But he was laughing at me, he was making a laugh at me. I was like, that's the truth.
Like, we enjoy what we do, and I think that's why we've gone far with it as well, because we actually really love
2 hours sleep, I go to work, like something wrong, but we love it.
Like, and if there is like even if you are doing something that you love, because I love music and I love doing what I do, but if something does become monotonous, just reassess it and change it up. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, if you were like doing this, I'm gonna give you like talk to you as if I'm the host now.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know what I mean? But I think like if there's something when you are doing this, as I said, in a year's time, and it's like, okay, this is getting just
too overwhelming.
Like, do you know what I mean? Exactly. Or overwhelming, or just monotonous. Like, what can you do to change it? It's not about changing the just stopping it and doing something else. It's just like how can we make it better?
Yeah.
And it's about, and that's what I did this year. Reassessed everything. I like, oh, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing it for, and this is how I'm gonna do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Amazing.
That's very good. And what do you have coming up in the future?
I think I actually only seen some winter stories today.
Yeah. So we're releasing an album in October.
Amazing.
Oh, very good.
Oh, I thought I seen Friday.
Yeah, no, I'm releasing a single.
Oh, a single on Friday.
What's it called?
Single. It's called the single is called Supernova.
Oh.
Yeah. So and the album is called Orpheus.
So that's in October.
Yeah.
And is this your first album? Or
yeah. So it's been a long time coming. Like,
what does Orpheus?
So Orpheus
I is wrong,
Orpheus is I only got this from an episode of Skins. So don't be worried.
It's quite deep.
It is actually quite deep.
Okay.
To be honest, but I'm not like some sort. It's from Greek philosophy, but I'm not a Greek philosopher. Like I know nothing about it. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm still less lad.
It's about Skins.
Yeah. I just like Tony references it in Skins, and like I think it's the first episode of Skins. But like basically, Orpheus is this lad. If he was from Tally, he'd be called Orpho.
Right.
Yeah. So he basically had this. Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
Yeah. But it's basically about this guy who was a musician, and he was charming everybody with his music and everyone, like, you know, and like his partner, her name was Eurydice, and she got bitten by like a viper. Yeah, mad. I know, it's the Greeks.
Yeah.
And she got bitten by like a viper, by a snake, you know. Yeah. And so Orpheus had to go down to the underworld in like basically hell, and to get through past all the monsters, he played music and he just charmed his way through. Like, you know?
Okay.
And it's just like he went down and he talked to Hades, who was like the head of the underworld. I don't know whether it's what Hercules or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I only know because it's a Disney film as well.
Yeah, that's how I know.
Yeah. So he went down, and then he was like, "I want my wife back." Do you know what I mean? She's at the dying, and he's like, Hades turns around and goes, "Here, if you walk out of here, she's gonna be behind you.
So you can make.
But if you walk out of here, but if you look back, she's gonna disappear." So he's about to walk out of the underworld,
Right.
and he turns around and then she's gone. So he didn't trust him. He didn't trust that
He couldn't make it.
he didn't think that he basically didn't trust that she was going to be there. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's basically like in normal terms, it's the album is basically about getting out of your own way, because sometimes we're the only, like, if we're so in our heads about things.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Do you know
that's
what I'm trying to
so
say?
smart.
That's such a good skill.
That
Really
is
good.
very
Do you know what
good.
I'm saying? Like,
No, but it is. It's a really good thing. So if you're in your own head, then like it's obviously it's you that's looking back. Like
yeah. So for me, it was just like, it's like, you know, I entered into a relationship with my girlfriend 2 years, you know, and before then I was just kind of like afraid of the commitment, and I had to assess like why, what's going on, like, do you know what I mean? And it's really deep.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Talk about suicide, this is more deeper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's just that kind of thing. It's like, you know, getting into a new relationship and like realizing that for things to move forward, you need to sort out your own shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I think that's the most important thing. Like,
yourself
I mean,
before
you do
yeah, and just to understand why things went badly in the past and stuff like that. So, you know, and also just having to move forward, and like, so Orpheus obviously looked back and he was more concerned about his past than his future. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like that's
And
for
that's
me.
how we lost that.
That's how we lost that. Do you know what I mean? And it's like the only way this relationship can move forward is if
you don't look back.
If I don't look back and I get out my own way.
And
Do you know what I
trust
mean?
yourself.
Yeah.
Well, we want a wedding invite.
Yeah.
Because we are part of that who's
So I have that coming in. That's October, but before then, I'm going to be doing the Works Festival, which is just in Inniscore actually.
Oh, right.
So that's on the 24th of August. My mate's running that. His name is Adam Kelly. So there's loads of like local bands and up and coming bands and stuff like that are playing there.
So are you going to be playing there?
I'm going to play there in the main stage, which I'm going to be playing with a band as well, which will be cool. Do you know what I mean? It's my first time playing with a band in a long time, like, you know.
Since
it'll be
it's
class.
Since they kicked you.
Yeah, so that's happening, and then I'm over in Bulgaria in just before the album comes out.
Are you singing over there?
Yeah, so I'm going over to do a songwriting festival over there, like, you know, and like a competition and stuff like that. So
I didn't even realise these were.
No, I don't either.
You don't realise until like someone is actually.
I know, but we think he's inspirational. But if we just hear that story of someone else, we'd be like, oh, someone that writes about their feelings. But now we're to hear it, we're like, oh my god.
Well, see, that's the
Like,
thing.
do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, we just wouldn't judge the book by its cover, like, John, in that type of sense.
Well, I wouldn't know, but I think.
No, but if I had heard someone was writing their feelings down on a piece of paper and
You'd be
singing
thinking,
it, I'd be like,
why are
I'd be
they
like,
doing that?
And now you're after saying that and explaining it on, I'm like, oh my god, that's such a good
And now
way
you
of
wanna
people
go back
to be
and
able to deal
you wanna
with
go
their
down and
mental
write
health
down
or
their
whatever.
things.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is there anything else before we finish up that you'd like to share with anyone that we haven't covered or anything?
I don't think so. This is like the end of the, do you know the end of an interview?
Yeah, it's like, oh, what do I actually say?
Any other questions? And you're like, if you don't ask any questions, I'm not going to get the job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I have to think of
They
something
always
to
say
stop.
you should ask the question back at the end of an interview.
I think just maybe I'll share the socials or something like that. Do you know
Yeah,
what I
no,
mean?
we're going to ask that as well. So where can people actually find you?
Yeah, so at Luke Clerkin, I'm just mainly on Instagram, you know what I mean? So, but I do a bit of TikTok the odd time, but like, I don't know, I'm probably a bit too old for that. But yeah, so at Luke Clerkin on
Instagram. And we'll tag it as well in the.
Yeah, we'll tag it in so everyone will be able to go and follow you as well.
Yeah,
so yeah,
perfect. Thanks, Lou.
Yeah, no, thanks so much. That was
Thank you.
literally amazing, and like
Cheers.
really,
And like
really
for your
good
place,
story.
like 12 and a half years sober, and you're